The Avatar movies are an enigma, selling endless tickets yet moving like phantoms. One scene captures and explains this enigma, and I've realized it's a masterpiece. Like, top 10 moments in sci-fi history.
Jake!
We're gonna come back to why this scene explains the Avatar enigma, but to get there, we have to talk about what these movies are really trying to do. Also, I have to break up the scene for fair use. To start understanding this paradoxical franchise, especially the third movie, which I won't be spoiling, don't worry, you need to understand that environmentalism is not the primary theme of these movies. Sure, they beat you over the head with it from start to finish, but there's something else driving it. The movies, all written by James Cameron, hammer home the urgency of protecting our environment by removing the nuance of its beauty and wonder and making it extremely obvious. Likewise, they paint contributors to environmental destruction as cartoonishly evil. And it taught countless oil and gas CEOs a lesson that changed their ways forever. Now, if anyone should appreciate this message, it's me. I've dedicated my career to environmental sustainability, but I don't think monstrous caricatures of those you disagree with will help them to see the error of their ways. I think Cameron was less interested in using these movies to spark thoughtful discussion, and more interested in just being heard. Avatar was an outlet for the frustrations that advocates for the environment or oppressed peoples feel when their concerns are minimized and dismissed. These movies are all about the desire to be seen, which frames our key scene and hints at the answer to the Avatar enigma.
I see you. But it's not just I'm seeing you in front of me, it's I see into you. I see.
It's good he's back on board, but he thinks I'm a scoundrel too.
I understand you.
The greeting of the Na'vi. The theme's been there all franchise, but there's a certain irony to it. From early on, the first movie was pretty obvious about who the heroes and villains were. As easy as it was for us to see these characters, the Na'vi didn't seem to see Jake, or realize his insidious motives. For a movie making a blatant metaphor about indigenous people, I wish it gave them more awareness and agency. But even with that frustration, certain moments with these characters draw us in. And Neytiri's reaction to learning the truth about Jake is absolutely crushing. And it all builds up to this moment, when she finally sees the truth about him in an even more tangible way.
Jake! My Jake!
As far as the movie shows us, she likely didn't even know that he was a person with a disability, unable even to walk. And yet, even after the initial panic to save his life, there's no shock. Nothing but unconditional love and acceptance. He'd already shown her that his soul had changed, so what did his physical form matter, or the past that it represented?
I see you.
When she says that here, taking in the small, weak, true form behind the warrior she'd fallen in love with, it takes on a whole new meaning. But what about the Avatar paradox? Notice how this scene resonates without iconic, cinema-changing characters that instill the desire to be someone else. It uses the opposite approach, tapping into our universal desire to be seen for who we are. I bet, if most of us are honest, the desire to be seen that way is a driving goal of our lives, even if it takes many different forms. Almost all the recurring plot threads in this franchise are different forms of this goal. Like, these movies love the idea of finding a new home. Isn't a home just a place where you're understood and accepted? The characters who get the most screen time in The Way of Water are those who don't feel seen, and both sequels devote entire arcs to this search for acceptance and understanding. Fire and Ash dials it up even further with Varong, the best-known villain in the series. She has a knack for seeing into others, symbolized by the tattoo of the eye on her palm, and yet she has no one to recognize her own vision, just mindless followers. Her moment with Quaritch, shown briefly in the trailer, is the dark mirror of the moment with Jake and Neytiri.
I see you.
It's a validation of her sadistic mission, which is, ultimately, to make others feel what she felt, both physically and spiritually.
My people cried for help. But Ava did not come.
This spiritual component of these movies is the final reflection of our defining scene. Cameron once talked about how people across cultures and religions see themselves in the Na'vi. The religion reflects all different belief systems. As a Catholic, I saw countless parallels to my own beliefs, as I'm sure a peyoteist or a Buddhist or even a materialist who just loves the environment would see to theirs. And if you didn't know, the concept of an avatar is taken from Hinduism. But just as these movies are an outlet for Cameron and those who share his worldview to feel understood, they also use a belief system that lets countless others feel recognized at a spiritual level. Faith becomes an even bigger focus in Fire and Ash, but it also recycles the same tropes from its predecessors in a myriad of plot threads where the desire to be seen is the closest thing to a common thread running through them all. Though no moment delivers it as powerfully as our defining scene, which brings us to the answer I've been building to. I doubt Avatar gave many of us a new favorite character, but I bet most of us looked at nature a little more longingly after watching. It connected us with our desires, maybe even our forgotten ones, and none stronger than our desire to be understood and accepted. This effect doesn't spark dialogue the way an iconic plot would, but it gets us itching to return to Pandora. Trailers don't need to remind us of what actually happened or the questions the movie asked us. They remind us of how it made us feel, and that's why so many of us return to this franchise in such high numbers. That, I think, is the real answer to the Avatar enigma. Their impact is limited because they're not really about transforming people. They're about touching people's desires, and they're about seeing people for who they are. Thanks for watching. Until next time.